Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm heading into the kitchen and whipping up some yummy treats. These are recipes that are reminiscent of my childhood and things I loved, like candy dots, Pop-Tarts, and Gummy Snacks. Today I'm making these treats for my son, but I also wanted to share them on my channel, so let's just jump right in. I'm starting with Kool-Aid candy dots. So it's pretty easy. I'm going to whip up a simple meringue recipe. You can use a hand mixer, but I'm using my stand mixer and adding 1.5 cups of powdered sugar and then 1 egg. I'm going to whip this up, and this is going to create a pretty basic meringue recipe. You'll find this in most meringue cookies or different things like that, but for today we're using this to create the dots. So once that's whipped up for about 5 minutes, you'll notice that it has pretty stiff peaks. I'm taking that out with a spatula and putting it into 4 separate bowls. Now I have 4 separate flavors of Kool-Aid, and I'm going to add each to each bowl. Now obviously this isn't the most healthy treat, but they're small little dots and you're only supposed to have a few at a time. And we're kind of recreating an old favorite. But yeah, each of these has a very kind of tart, sour but sweet flavor. So we had a grape, we had a lime, we also had a berry and a blue, which was like a blueberry lemon flavor. They all tasted really good and nice and sour and tangy. So I'm going to pipe these onto a sheet of wax paper, and you can let them dry, but if you're concerned with the raw egg, you can stick them in the oven for about 15 minutes to cook them a little bit. Most meringue recipes contain raw egg, but if you're concerned with this and you're serving this to kids, you can stick it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm piping each color as clean of a dot as I can get. I didn't go too clean with it because I figured we were going to eat these pretty quick. And yeah, I guess I could have stayed and made them perfect, but I just wanted to whip them up pretty quick. So in my opinion, these actually turned out better than the candy dots that I remember from my childhood because these were sour, where the candy dots were almost just like sugar. It was more fun to just peel them off the paper. That was the most fun part for me. So I let my son have a few of each color. Then I confiscated them because I think he would have eaten both wax paper sheets in 2.5 seconds. So next we're recreating Gummy Snacks. These are pretty easy to make. All you need is a fruit juice of your choice. I'm using a strawberry lemonade fruit juice, bringing that to a boil and then pulling it off the stove. I'm adding 3 packets of gelatin, but the key with this is to add it slowly and whisk it up. Then I'm going to pour that into a measuring cup. I spilled a little bit. Remove the froth because the froth will make the gummies not look as clear. So I learned that the last time I made that mistake. And then with a strainer, I'm adding this to molds. And in this case, I have star molds. It's a little bit of a mess, but I made 2 different versions. I made a Concord grape and a strawberry lemonade. And then you're going to want to stick those in the refrigerator. These should be set up for about 4 hours, and then they'll be ready to go, and you can pull them out and they'll come out pretty clean from the molds. Now I tried to look for a vegan recipe for this, but I couldn't find anything that would create that gelatin effect without gelatin. So if any of you have tips, leave it in the comments below because I would love to test out a vegan version of these. So finally, I wanted to make some Pop-Tarts. These are relatively easy to make, actually, surprisingly. I started with the jam first, so I have a variation of frozen berries. I'm putting that in a small saucepan, and I'm adding some coconut sugar, and then I'm putting a top on the saucepan. Now, don't judge me, but I couldn't find the top for this saucepan, so I used a large one. And next, I'm moving into the dough. So I have 2 cups of whole wheat pastry flour, and then I'm going to add a pinch of salt. Then I'm going to cut in 2/3 cup of cold vegan butter. In this case, I'm using Earth Balance, which is actually a butter I really like to use on toast, and it's a great alternative for butter. So I'm cutting that into the dry ingredients. And then I'm adding about 4 tablespoons of ice cold water very slowly into this mixture, and then I'm going to combine that until it creates a dough. So that'll take some time, but you just need a fork. So once the dough starts to look combined, I'm going to go check on my jam, just make sure it's doing okay. I'm going to crush the berries a little bit, put the top back on, let that cook a little bit more as I roll out my dough. I didn't have the proper top for that pan, so don't mind me. On a floured surface, I'm going to roll out the dough with a rolling pin, and then I'm going to create Pop-Tart shapes as best as I can. In this particular case, I just used the back of one of my little Pyrex containers or my OXO containers or whatever to create 4 different shapes. So I'm just going to make 2 Pop-Tarts for right now for this video, but I had some leftover dough so I could make more later. So obviously you want the top and the bottom portion. I'm going to fill the inside with the jam and then put the top on to completely close off the jam inside the Pop-Tart. I'm going to press it down with my fingers, and I'm going to do that again for the second Pop-Tart. So you want to make sure that the jam is completely closed off, so you can press that down with your fingers, and you can also cut it to make the edges smooth. I also took a fork to kind of give it that traditional Pop-Tart edge look, and I was always really a fan of the plain Pop-Tarts, and I put a few little dashes on top. So I would say this is like a Pop-Tart, but it was also kind of like a berry tart, just a homemade berry tart, and it really turned out flaky and delicious. I thought it tasted amazing. I was super happy with how this turned out. I'm always worried that it's not going to turn out or taste good, but this actually tasted really good. And I brushed the top with a little bit more of the vegan butter, put a little bit of the coconut sugar on top of that. At the beginning of this, I preheated the oven to 350 degrees, so make sure that you do that, and you want to cook it for about 20 to 25 minutes or until golden brown, and then they will be finished crispy, delicious, vegan Pop-Tarts. A little bit healthier than the ones you can find at the stores, but still reminiscent of that same delicious recipe that I loved as a kid. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you try out these recipes for yourself. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel if you like my videos. For new videos every week, check out a few of my other videos and my other channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.